Oh shit, we're live. Excuse me.
What's
I
up,
think we
everybody?
are.
Yeah, we're live.
Can you see it
Yes, yeah.
on YouTube?
Oh, let me check.
Huh, it's not on YouTube. Oh, there it is. It is live. Yep, I see it.
All right. Shoot. Well, this is our first. This is our first episode, our first live stream.
Welcome to the Signal Live shit. No, I'm playing. We got to think of all that kind of stuff too.
The introduction. All right. How about this? How about let's get in? Let's just dive directly into some stuff that we've been talking about, and well, shoot, let's get right into it. So, I feel like I should pop up like the original story, which is X is basically capping InfoFi projects, right? And what InfoFi is basically incentivizing people to post content mostly about crypto projects. And Nikita Beer, right? He put a ban on that, or Twitter put a ban on it. Let me find the article.
I think we should preface the story about like what happened.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Well, I find this.
So one of the biggest projects and trends in crypto was essentially paying people to reply and share your new project. Maybe you have a launch coming up. So you would use this tool called Kaido, which we call in crypto InfoFi, like information finance. And essentially what happened was you had all these bots replying to new projects and flooding the market with spam and slop on the timeline because people were hoping for $25 in tokens from a new project. And Kaido was the home for this type of interaction. And today it was killed. And I don't know, Gabe, you want to pull up?
Yeah, and basically they were like they're incentivizing, and this became a mainstream thing where tons of protocols were, trying to figure out how can we work with a team, and then how can we get people in the crypto community to post about this team. And the mechanism in between was basically paying them or setting up these campaigns. So yeah, let me grab the clip right here. But this is like one of the articles from Decrypt, a major crypto news outlet. And the whole premise of what Nikita said here is we revised the developer APIs and will no longer be rewarding users for posting on X. Because actually, at the end of the day, this actually competes with X's incentive model, right? So maybe it's not even
what
just about
exactly did X do?
So they will be revoking API access to those applications.
So now those apps will no longer be able to pull data from X.
Yeah. So what I think happened is they identified, because it's easy to know who these guys are. I mean, if you just do like an X search and you could find Kaido and cookies, there's a couple of them. So my assumption is they looked at and did research to find, okay, who's doing InfoFi stuff, right? Because everyone says, hey, I'm InfoFi. And they revoked access to those developer API keys. That's my assumption. Because it says here, if your developer account was terminated, please reach out and we'll assist in transitioning. Oh, no way. To Threads and Blue Sky. That's hilarious. But that was a jab. I think
now watch Threads takes over.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so. There's not much financial information, in my opinion, on Threads. But essentially, I mean, some of these people like Kaido came out pretty fast with the response, which makes me think that they gave him a heads up, maybe. Because this was like an hour later, and Kaido said, okay, we're sunsetting apps and introducing new Kaido Studio. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, like, it's widely known that InfoFi generate slop. And it's almost like the equivalent to like some AI videos, low quality AI videos you see on like Instagram, TikTok. To me, it's the same thing, just in terms of like, okay, let's financially incentivize to talk about this crypto project slash coin. I don't know. What do you think?
Apparently, the team would you mentioned that Kaido was given a heads up and they knew this was coming. Apparently, the token dropped before the announcement.
Ooh, really?
Like, I look at Nikita's tweet time. Let's see. And
Yeah.
there is an obvious cliff where it just dropped like 20%.
What time? What time exactly?
Okay, the time of the tweet was 7:39 this morning.
I'm looking
Kaido.
at the max. Let me go to 24 hours. Oh, it dropped. It literally cliffed, right? You
Bro,
said
1
7:39.
minute, 5 minutes before. It dropped at 7:54.
So you had a 2 minute warning, basically.
Scumbags. No, the
Wait, the
tweet
new
came out after.
7:54.
Oh no, the tweet came out before.
What
Tweet came
time?
out before. 7:39.
All right, yeah, maybe there's some iffy stuff here.
I can't get the chart to. Oh, because it's Kaido S Kaido.
And also cookies. So cookies, which focuses on like mostly crypto AI stuff, announced that they did the same thing. They basically came out with a pretty quick report doing the same exact thing. Amplify is changing its time to sunset Snaps. We're making a difficult decision to close the Snaps platform and all active campaigns. So it's the same thing. And I mean, these platforms like Kaido is probably one of the best crypto information like sites, I think, in terms of aggregate information. However, like the yaps and all this like social incentives mechanism stuff like that, I think has kind of tarnished their brand a little bit. I mean, this was like the axe on the head. They made a ton of money and they were making a lot of money from the yaps, but I don't know. It's I think they might need to revert back to the traditional model, like, SaaS style product. But in terms of like this business model, the InfoFi in general, I think this is sunsetting almost like in general,
Yeah, well, they made enough money to figure out how to pivot. So
yeah. Yeah. You want to move to the next thing?
yeah, so Polymarket. What's there is a post today you shared.
Yeah. Polymarket volume is down. Oh shoot, let me can you put up the screen again? So Polymarket volume is 40% sports, 28% crypto, and 22% politics. Kalshi sports volume is 91%. So basically he's saying like, is this really prediction markets or is this something else? At what point, like this post is talking about, at what point do we think that this is no longer a prediction market? And at what point is this like sports betting essentially, where Kalshi is like prediction market, but essentially a sports betting platform with some other stuff? Yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
The casinos will eventually come for their money. Like
Prediction
this is yeah, it's just clipping us. Like Kalshi, Polymarket might just be collateral damage in this case, but Kalshi, obviously, if they're 91% sports betting, they're 91% sports betting because it's easier access to gamble. And at a certain point, the casinos, it's going to be like what's happening with crypto right now. The banks are going to come for that extra yield that stable coins are clipping from them. They're going to come for it at some point. Or maybe they get bought out. But essentially, like, somebody's going to wake up to it, whether it's politicians. I'm sure it's going to be the casinos, because the
Wake up to
casinos
what
have a
exactly?
huge problem.
Wait, I mean, this stuff has been out since. I mean, this stuff got
It's only been
viral.
a couple years. Polymarket's been out, but not Kalshi.
Yeah, but this
You
this
know,
whole year and a half, right? Or not a year and a half, but this whole year since the election, right? A year and a half. Let's say a year and a half. Prediction markets were literally the forefront of the election as a product. So casinos have had a year and a half to basically put it together a strategy, and we still haven't seen one.
I don't think that's that much time, though. I don't think it's that much time. Because you still have the administration there. Are they not heavily invested, like, in both of these projects? I think Polymarket has, like, the Trump family fund or whatever, as one of their investors.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take that point though, and let's port over the thesis to sports betting, right? Casinos haven't done much, it seems, to compete with these like apps, these mobile applications. Like I don't think we've seen like Caesar's app, betting app, right?
They
Maybe the
haven't. But the problem is they cannot operate outside of Nevada or a
Vegas.
couple other states. And that's why the volume is high on these apps, because they're not regulated properly. But at a certain point, the regulation will catch up. Somebody's in, because they're getting a portion of their business taken away. So they're playing unfair, essentially. Like, they mask themselves early as this probabilities market, right? To get a CFTC license to not be regulated as gambling. But then slowly but surely, Polymarket has increased, right? Like, what Polymarket was probably 90% political volume a year and a half ago,
Right.
right? Kalshi they were catching up, and they just ate market share for sports betting. So at a certain point, like, I think the regulation is going to catch up. Personally, that's my opinion.
Okay. So you're essentially saying that maybe this wasn't the initial strategy, and that the niche, the reaction of the market was consolidating into like widespread adoption of being able to access sports
Yeah.
betting and crypto market betting, I guess, in some sense. Is what
That's the
you're saying.
product market fit, I guess, right? Like,
Yeah.
people just want to gamble. Like,
Yeah.
they don't give a fuck about, like, most normal people are not going to bet on the outcome of a front in Ukraine and Russia or something,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very niche. The election was exciting, but again, it happens only every 4 years. So the problem is that they don't have enough widespread media events, it seems like, for people to bet on, other than, well, I actually thought politics would be higher.
Same. Yeah. And maybe it's cyclical in the sense that, I guess the consistent attention like market sector, right, is sports. Like the average consumer knows their sports team, the average consumer knows when they're playing, they know when the cycle ends. I think it's almost like an education thing, right, where you have understanding of the market, or like you have attention. Like the market has attention, sports market has attention and mind share, where in politics, maybe politics dominated so much because it was global attention and mind share during like a cycle. And maybe in the midterms, this, the politics spikes up to 40% or 30, 40%, or maybe higher. So it's almost like it does make a hard argument, right? If these things are considered like gambling because they're mostly sports, but then what happens if the ball moves into different territories, or let's say there's like a war that's closer to home, for like Americans or even for other people, and are people going to be betting on more geopolitical stuff because it is more tangible, it's more like upfront, and they can see these things. That's kind of, I guess, the response, or like the question.
I see what your point is. I think that they tried this. They had a campaign maybe towards the end of last year of trying to normalize betting markets or prediction markets. And what was it? Oh, if you have a flood, this is cheaper than your flood insurance. Or if you have a house fire, this is cheaper than your house fire insurance, or something like that. Remember those posts?
The CEO of Robinhood, yeah,
Vlad Tenev.
yeah.
Like that, I think that was an honest attempt. And Polymarket shares some of this too. It was like an honest attempt to try to get people to normalize, like everyday people to bet on this stuff.
Yeah.
Some people have already started to realize that using prediction markets can be cheaper than conventional fire, flood, and hurricane insurance. I just don't get what happens when this actually happens and you make the money. Is it enough to like buy a house? You got to put the equal amount of your mortgage down, and if you're wrong, you lose it.
Yeah. Honestly, when I saw this, I felt like this was a gross over estimation of like reality. It's almost like when people are like, "Hey, let's set up like algorithmic trading and make some money." Like, you have to have
the first reply. Average Kalshi predictor trying to normalize gambling. It's like they're trying to normalize it, right? But I think Kalshi is the perfect example that it's 90% sports gambling, because that's all that the gambler is looking for. Not even an edge. There's no edge, right? They're just looking for a new place to place bets. That's what crypto did so well with those crypto gambling platforms before. What happened? They all got regulated. They all got KYC.
Yeah. It's like the game. It's almost as if like, okay, what if I'm a retail person, right? Retail as in like the average everyday person. And what is the game I know I can play? And it's basically sports betting.
And anyone who will take my money easier, faster, I will go there. What casino can I just take my money the best way possible? And that's what these are turning out to be.
Yeah. Whether it seems almost as if whether that was a plan or not is kind of irrelevant, but it's going to be potentially an uphill battle, especially if there's like a new regime change between the midterm and the final outcome of the elections. We might see a nasty crackdown on all these things depending on those outcomes. So there's a lot of money on the table for that too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's I used to be really interested in the prediction markets. Now it's just like, I don't know, slop.
Yeah.
Dude, the things that Polymarket tweets are kind of crazy now.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a disconnect between like your everyday person and like a trader mentality. I think if there's a way, which I think maybe there is a way to get good data out of the markets, but I think the incentive structure currently and just the way the markets work in general is it doesn't paint a clear picture of like what is going to happen. So like I saw one example that I thought was interesting to see, which is the ICE the ICE agent that shot the woman in Minnesota, is he going to be charged by March 31st?
And I didn't see that market.
Yeah. Let me pull it up. But basically the result was like 20%, right? So like, what does that actually mean? Is that is that the public sentiment of what's going to happen, or is this like too illiquid, meaning like there's not enough real people in the market, or maybe there's like a bias of the type of people participating in the market versus what actually happens, right? So there's like a bunch of variables. Like maybe someone has insider information and they kind of know like, yeah, this is not going to be pursued. It's going to be shot down by the administration, right? Which they kind of said. They said this publicly, like this was justified, right? So that's one thing in the like one variable in the data that has to be considered. Another one is the participants. Who's betting in this market? Like, what if all the participants are pro ice shooting, right? And that's just because the type of people on these platforms. Maybe it's like regional based, right? So that can kind of skew the results. So I think in some cases, like we see these charts kind of swinging around on Polymarket, and I think a lot of times they've been placing their value proposition on providing external data. And maybe for some markets, it's more consistent than other markets, but I don't think we quite know that yet. So I'm curious to see if there's like, I'm looking for research and deeper analysis on like how these markets actually contribute to useful or non-useful data, and if there's certain markets where the data may be based on the type of market and the type of result actually is valuable information. Maybe like the Fed interest rates, right? Like what's going to happen to the interest rates. There's so much mind share and information and consistency with that I think the most of those are kind of like straightforward, right?
Yeah, the Fed market's pretty interesting. I think the Fed market is probably a good one to look at. It the prediction market tends to be right. Like if you look at it right now, almost 400 million in total volume. It's the second biggest market on Polymarket. They
Really?
have the next upcoming meeting at 95% chance of no change.
Yeah. So something crazy would have to happen.
Yeah. And you could see the charts just like going up and diverging. So there's like real money being placed on these trades.
Yeah. What about Powell? Like, let's look at like when Powell got um what's the official charge or like investigated? Jerome Powell got
Being investigated for defrauding the government or something with the building, uh being in contempt of court
right.
about his funding for the building that they're building, which everyone is so upset about. But I guess the Fed uh doesn't use taxpayer dollars to fund its operations, so it's their own money. I could see the argument though. People are upset because it's like the Federal Reserve is printing money and building a palace for $3 billion. Like what do we get? But
Yeah.
I guess the good thing is like it's not like they're asking the citizens of the United States to pay for it, which tends
Yeah.
to happen. Meanwhile, Trump is building a ballroom, so I don't know, which he's also paying for.
And that was January 12th. So basically no impact.
Oh, the news?
Yeah. I mean, it didn't really impact things.
There's only 100K of volume, so people aren't even trading it.
Yeah, on the Fed one. Oh, sorry, I was on the wrong tab right here. No impact on the Fed decision.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Some to keep an eye out for the prediction markets. But another one, the AI videos. Have you been tracking like what's been happening with like this one's supposed to be 21 Savage and basically where you can like I forgot what they call it, like roto clipping or something on
Like a
top of
VTuber?
say it again?
the VTubers.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
like the original version, right? The VTubers where they masked themselves with a digital character.
yeah. So this is like the reverse, basically, or excuse me, it's the same thing, but it's like you're putting yourself on top of a realistic person as opposed to a like a character or like an anime image or something like that.
Yeah, we're
This to me is like the start of the most epic baiting scam spree that we've ever seen. Like essentially, this could be, you know, folks that are posing as relatives. It could be folks posing as like politicians, because it's not like you need a sustainable narrative to for one of these to like impact you. You just need a couple seconds, right? You just need a couple seconds. And if you're scrolling or something like that, and you see like, you know, a fake video or of someone important, or even if you get like a call or like a text message or some type of like ransom, right? Ransom letter. And it's like, hey, you know, we've got so and so, and we need you to route in an hour. Like most of phishing is preying on a couple seconds of like lapse of judgment or like confusion or not being able to read through the lines. And I know Comfy, which is this platform, they're basically a infrastructure to make these AI videos. So yeah, it's another thing that I've been thinking about a lot is like if you're a 6 year old and you're growing up in an era that that basically some videos online are not real, or most of the videos online potentially couldn't be real or might not be real or could be entertainment. You know, for folks over like 20, right, or over 15. So let's say folks over 15, you have seen enough things in life and have kind of like enough of a rubric or like a database of reality. So what happens if you are born into the internet where video content and image content can be fake and look extremely real, but you don't have a fully developed like archive of real things to build up discernment. So this is like I haven't heard or seen few people kind of address this, but kids come online, right? Kids get phones, they come online, and this could potentially be like a huge severe issue of how do I know something's real? How do I know something's fake? Maybe, you know, maybe like these platforms will start posting moderation, like white, like watermarks and labels, but we haven't seen anyone do them. Like we know they're there, but the platforms, I mean, let's just look at this image. The platforms are not labeling AI videos. And TikTok doesn't label them, Instagram doesn't label them. You can label them, but there's no like
Why
strong.
would they?
Say it again.
Why would they?
Right. I don't know. I've seen some clips of Meta employees talking about like how the AI videos are not improving the platform. You know, it's like I don't I think the sentiment is a lot of these things actually are killing engagement, right? Like if you're their whole thing is they want attention. So it only works if the AI videos draw you and continue to drive attention, right? But kind of the experiment now is are these videos like good enough to draw people's attention, or are they like bombarded with AI slop and want to leave? And brain rot is almost the experiment of this, right? Like brain rot is like the most cleanest form of just attention content without a value. And most of it is like AI generated, right? And that's kind of the joke in itself. Like this means nothing, it's AI generated. But now we're seeing like this anti-brain rot like trend, right? Where people want to kind of revert back to being outside. People will download applications like Opal or some of these other like anti-doom scrolling apps. So I think I would assume that these organizations are understanding that this potentially is degrading the quality experience of the platform, right? And turning some of these platforms into slop. And I just don't see them like sitting around for too long.
I see. So you don't think that I lost you?
Yeah, go ahead.
It was like the point of what you were saying. Like you think that the AI videos won't stick around, or it's going to improve the timeline?
I think the AI videos have the qualities of accelerating content generation. The content that's coming onto the platforms that's AI content that does well is like a joke about it being AI in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I saw this one video where it's like this short dude who's supposed to be in the NBA and he's like running around the court, but you know he's not in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a joke, and you could tell like it's low quality AI, right? But it's not that the content is trying to convince you of being real. The AI is just a medium to like generate this funny idea, which would be hard to generate in the first place, which is this like short, unathletic guy running around in the NBA with a contract. He's like crying after every game. It's funny, right? So that kind of stuff I think flies, and like people think that's funny, and it's like enjoyable entertainment. And the tool that's being used to generate the content, instead of doing some type of like green screen or something, huge production process, you could just accelerate these funny ideas faster. But the problem is when you're seeing like self-help stuff coming from a hyper real person and the script is like mediocre, right? It's like this lackluster content. I think that people are starting to be like apathetic towards.
All right. Yeah, I guess you could see like the come up of Speed and Kai pivoting his career, that maybe people are going to want to digest different forms of content now.
Yeah, yeah. The AI
But how
stuff
would
is
they know with something like this comfy? How would they know?
there's a there's going to be a point where I think the creativity still has to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah, you can get AI content to compete, but like you're just going to compete on sex appeal. Okay, that's probably going to hit, right? But then people eventually they're like, okay, this is just another like you don't even know, and maybe looks alone on camera or like the normal stuff that kind of gave you the boost advantage might get normalized because that actually is not going to drive engagement because it's so accessible now, right? You can generate it. And more so, it's almost like, AI for a lot of stuff like coding and writing, it just lowers the barrier entry of the tool, of the production of the process and the output, right? So maybe the sticking point of like, okay, where does the value actually goes into the creative process and like the creativity for putting something together and like outputting it. So who knows? Maybe the future is we see a lot of AI generated stuff, but the creative process has like a high barrier to entry. Maybe the platforms flag it. I think people are trying to figure it out, and I think the platforms are trying to figure it out and basically doing like real time experimentation with content and just data collecting, understanding, okay, what's working, because the brain rot stuff worked, right? But like philosophically, the brain rot stuff was like a huge inside joke based on the fact that it was slop. That was the point, right? But hyper realism stuff is playing in a different ball game with different expectations. So yeah, something I think to keep an eye on.
Wow. I don't know. I gotta do more digging about the realism stuff, but I think it's gonna throw people for because is this accessible to anybody? Like anyone can use the app.
Anyone, so right now, as of today, what I've seen is anyone can basically generate stuff using like Sora, right? Or Sora or Nano Banana from Google. And you could generate videos of 10-second long videos. But the problem is you can't really generate great content longer than 10 seconds. Excuse me, 10-second videos. You can't generate anything longer than 10, 15 seconds. So any videos that you're seeing that's longer than 10 to 15 seconds, you basically have like some advanced, film expert or maybe an amateur, right? But they still have expertise that is generating the video, which is hyper expensive. Like even a 10-second long video, 10-15 second long video can be a couple of dollars depending on the model, unless you're running it locally on your computer, right? So if you're seeing like these long 1 minute quality AI videos, someone is spending time stitching them together, doing like audio sync, and that's still a creative process, right? Okay, the clips, the content wasn't filmed with a camera, but that's the lowering the barrier of entry. And then you still need to have the expertise of stitching everything together. So, that type of content takes effort. Maybe it doesn't take 10 hours because you don't have to animate in like Blender or something, but it might take 2 hours because you still need to stitch and edit the content. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I put up another video too if you want to share this one, which is this person was saying like KYC video verification potentially is in trouble too.
It looks pretty realistic.
Yeah, this is crazy. Look how they did Homeboy. Why does he look the most fake?
You know how it is. The AIs can never get characteristics right of black people.
Man, the last one's kind of
He don't look right either.
yeah, that's the worst one, honestly. Yeah, crazy stuff, man. That might be it for today. What else we got?
That's it for today. Thank you to everyone, all the viewers. The Signal.
The Signal.
Every other day at noon.
Whoo! Did we talk about that?
We just did.
We'll see you at noon.